Hey guys, Darren here in the 16-bit workshop. It's been quite a while since I posted any kind of video, except for the 10-minute one I did the other day. I've been collecting stuff. Actually, that's a habit of mine, but in this case, Amiga stuff. So as you can see, I've picked up a 1084S monitor. And I always wanted one of these when I was a kid. Could never afford them. Always used a TV with the RF modulator on my Amiga 500. Super cool. I also picked up this off a friend of mine. It's an Amiga 1500. So that was a Commodore UK special, if you like. It's an Amiga 2000 with the hard disk removed. This particular machine, I've already actually had apart. I did a sneaky and took the Varta out. The battery has leaked quite badly. About a third of the CPU was green, plus a patch about, I don't know, 5 inches square. There was a lot of green. I've scrubbed most of that off. It's basically DOA at this point. If you put the 040 accelerator card in that came with it, it will boot, but it's unstable. If you take the 040 out, it's black screen, dead as door now. I'm pretty sure that's the CPU socket and the traces around it, so we're going to try and repair that. I apologize for any continuity problems. This video is probably going to be shot over several days. Right now it's night. The lighting in my office is not great, as you can see. Things will probably move around a lot because I have a small workbench. But yeah, hopefully we can resurrect this. I really hope we can. It came with a bunch of goodies. Like I say, it came with a GVP 040 card. There's GVP HD8 card, 2 hard drives, both of which seem to spin up, but it doesn't boot from. Oh well, it will start to boot from. And then when Workbench starts, it dies with the Guru meditation error. I'm hoping that's related to the fault that is on the motherboard. I've run systest, or Amiga test kit as it's now known, on this, and that too dies after a while, so I suspect there's probably some iffy traces between the CPU and either the RAM or the logic ICs that are around the RAM, because that bottom end of the CPU socket is what took the brunt of the damage, and that's what goes straight off to the RAM. So yeah, let's get on with it. Okay, so let's get started. I apologise for this shot. I've only got, one camera, and the lighting is terrible right now because I have this sort of living room lamp. I don't have any fancy recording lamps or anything like that, so it is what it is. But let's start taking this apart, and let's crack on. So Jan Beta has a video doing basically the same thing that came out recently. Pure coincidence, I swear. But as he notes, there are 2 screws on each side. There's 1 at the back in the middle, and the whole case slides forward. And there it is. So as you can see, the 1500 is the 2000 without a hard disk, with 2 floppy drives. This one's actually got a SCSI CD-ROM drive in here. That's obviously not original. And you can see I've already been in because I've already pulled the power cable off the main board. This is the hard drive LED, and the power LED plugs in down here. No real reason to label them because they're enormously different lengths for a start. The power LED is the twisted one, and it pretty much only goes to just there, so that's fine. to get the main board out, you have to pull the power connector, like I say, which is not easy. That does not give up easily. And then you have to take this whole assembly out. Power supply, drives, they all sit in a cradle. There are 4 screws at the back, 3 at the front. And then, like I say, this whole assembly just basically lifts out. It's quite heavy. And it's complicated here by the fact that the CD drive isn't actually screwed in, so. And you don't really want to drop it on the main board. And we are in. There are a million screws holding this in. Alright, back to Steadicam, and like a million screws to undo. And that's it. That's all the screws out. Now the board just lifts out. And there we have it. We will just put this to one side. And get rid of the case. And now we can work on the board. Alright, so hopefully you aren't going to just see too much of my fat head in the way, but what you can maybe see on camera is that this sort of area is clean and everything else is super dusty. That's because I've been in here and brushed all of this area pretty much down with vinegar because it was really green. It's not green anymore, not as green anymore anyway, but it still doesn't work. I've unseated 68,000, cleaned up that socket, reseated it. I've unseated this, cleaned up the socket and reseated it. Can't remember if I unseated Paula and Denise. I didn't unseat Gary, but my bet is it's something to do with these traces, because these are pretty much all memory related. Obviously this is the RAM over here. So there are some interesting things on these boards, and I love this. I noticed that in Jan Vita's video, he had a resistor network here, and I think here in RP901 and RP900, there's actually a rework bulletin to remove those. So I assumed that maybe mine had fallen off, but apparently they shouldn't be there at all. There were some interesting factory bodges, like these two resistors who kind of tombstone together. Looks like most of these caps have had a hard life. I don't know if they always tilted over at that angle. None of them look blown, but I think we'll recap this board anyway. Because these are, 30-year-old capacitors. they need doing. So unfortunately there's a lot of through-hole caps on this board that are going to need changing. The Varta is gone. So funny story, I opened the case and the battery literally rolled out. It had become detached. Not desoldered, just corroded itself off the board. I'll probably replace that with coin cell. I don't know if I'll do the board mod for the coin cell or just use one of the coin cell modules that has the reverse charge protection built onto it. Let's see how adventurous I'm feeling, basically, after we get this board working. The first job is to get this board working. And to do that, I'm pretty sure we're concentrating on this guy, the 68,000, and his socket. So yeah, that is first job, basically. Let's get started. Okay, so we're going to actually start by desoldering the 68,000 socket. I just popped the chip off camera, and we will turn on ZD915 and just wait for it to come up temperature. I'm just going to help things along a bit with some no clean flux. And while we're here, I'm going to take the battery out. Well, the remains of the battery out. Okay. Let's see what happens. This is the battery holder out. Or one side of it anyway. I can't imagine doing this without the desoldering gun. And even then, there are a few that I don't think have desoldered. You won't really be able to see it from up there, but this guy, that connect to the ground plane, there's a lot of thermal mass there, and this guy, and this pesky little guy down here. Other than that, I think they all came out, which is pretty good going. Let's just see. Yeah, still stuck. So we're going to have to go in and add some solder to the troublesome ones. Basically resolder them and then unsolder them. And my soldering iron is not turned on right now, so I will have to turn that on and get back to you. Okay, so a little continuity break. It's the next day, and I've got the soldering station out, so we're going to add some solder to the pins that wouldn't desolder, and then we're going to have another stab at desoldering them. So Got the old desoldering station out. Let's give this a bash. Definitely this guy. Cold light of day, that might actually be it. So, fresh solder on those. Solder sucker. Ah, one pesky guy. Just do him again. He's one of the ground plane pins. Yeah, probably ground plane pin. Let's see if our socket is now free. Very much no. Not budging at all. Ow. It drew blood. In case you can't hear it, there's a cat on the floor beside me, demanding my attention. But this is not going so well. We're going to try basically a buttload more flux. Resolder them all, or at least the ones that aren't free, and then see if we can't desolder them again. I'm starting to get really nervous about lifting tracks now. Alright, let's give it another go. Nearly there. Shall we see? The moral of that story? I just had to be brave, I guess. I think I left a pin behind. But we can rescue that. And replace it with a nice new socket. Yeah, I did leave a pin behind. But that's not a big deal. It actually gives us a really good chance to clean the board up underneath here, so I am gonna do that with some vinegar and some IPA. So bear with me 1 second, I have to go and get that. Alright, I'm back with the required tools. Some white vinegar, the IPA, a couple of brushes. Try not to spray vinegar everywhere. Just all up my arm. There's a couple of passives right here. There's a resistor and diode that are really green and crusty. And I suspect it might be harboring the bad juju. But the keyboard socket, which I don't know if you could see that right there, it's really green and crusty. And probably needs replacing long term. But that's looking pretty good. It's looking better. A bit of IPA. We'll just clean the no clean flux off the back. Before we inevitably put some more on. So, see if we can drop the final pin of this battery. This is inside a huge round plate right here, so. It really does take some heat. And it does not want to play ball. There we go. I think I got the pin and the solder. Right. The back side of all of these pinholes look quite nice. But I think we need to clean the front side up. Basically I want to get these holes tinned with some nice fresh solder. And then we can unsolder these holes. So that we can get our nice new socket in. think we are finally ready to solder in our new socket. Exciting times. All I have to do is find the new socket. Where did I put it? We might actually be ready for a test run. I think I'll use our new processor. Yeah. Look at that. It's like a dream. Fits like a dream. Now, you have to excuse me, I need to tack at least one pin into this thing. And that is going to be tricky. Done. Alright. Now we got one pin in. The rest should more or less stay put. Let's tack one on the opposite corner. Alright. Now, the tedious bit, I guess. So here's the thing about soldering. It's really easy if you've got really good eyesight. Basically, you put the tip down, you can see it wet, feed in some solder, and as long as it looks like a nice little cone shape, then you know it's done its job. If it looks like a big old ball sitting there, you got a dry joint. In other words, the older you get, the harder this gets. Well, we have our 68,000 in place. Well, we have our 68,000 socket in place. Okay, so I have to confess, it's been quite a long time since I was last recording. I had to go away for work, and then basically this just sat there for a month, I guess. As you can see, I've got this quite Heath Robinson affair with drives balanced on top of stuff. There's a Gotek plugged in place of floppy drive, but it is all basically plugged in. I finished socketing the CPU. I tried the 68010 CPUs that I've got, at least I tried one of them, and it was still crashing running sys so I put the original 68000 back in. That's basically where I got to. So let's turn it on and show you this thing working. I really want to get it put back together in its original case with its original 040 accelerator card. But I'm torn between doing that and maybe replacing some of the passives around the battery area, where the battery was anyway. Especially some resistors and diodes that look a little bit green and crusty. And the keyboard connector, which is super corroded. And I suspect that if I don't do those, maybe it's going to keep eating away at it underneath the components where I can't see and I can't get to, and I can't get the vinegar in there. But anyway, let's reposition the camera at the screen that's over there so you can see what's going on, and I'll turn it on and show you what we've got. Alright, you're all moved, so let's turn it on. So first I'll let it boot from the original hard drives. These are the original Quantum Viable drives, Quantum Pro drives actually, that were in it when I got it. And amazingly, they both still work. Pretty clicky, like you'd expect a drive of that age to be, but it boots. Lives, more or less. And there's stuff, right? Now we've come so far with the speed of stuff. What's cool is this came with an implant card as well, and we actually have the software, which is cool because I really want to play around with that. The card's not in right now, so that won't work. Also came with the GVP040 card, which is this directory's all for. It works, and sorry, we're in 642.56. Let's see what interlace screen looks like on my camera. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. For some reason that doesn't work. I need to figure that out because I can't remember what that message means. Now on the GoTech, if we reboot from it, it's in DF1 right now, which is non-DOS disk, right? Because it's a bootable disk. So if we hold down both mouse buttons and boot it up, we should get a menu. No idea how long it took me to remember how to do that. And there it is. So I don't have the audio plugged in right now, so I can't test that. You know, video, red, green, blue. Let's see. CIAs look okay. There's nothing plugged into the ports. The battery black clock shouldn't work because, well, the clock works, but it is not 1978. Otherwise, well, I haven't been born yet, so. Let's have a look at, like, apologies for the cat. So what I did was leave this running a memory test for a while, and with the 68010 in place it would randomly crash. So I suspect that, look at this guy, maybe this very second-hand 68010 is dead on arrival. Which doesn't surprise me. It's a 25-year-old chip at least. Plus they came in this highly anti-static polystyrene, which I don't believe is anti-static for a minute. But I do have another one. I bought two because I've got a 500 as well that I thought I might put the 010 in to enable the quit key in WHD load. But there we go. I'm going to leave it running a memory test for a bit and make sure it doesn't choke. And if it doesn't choke, I'm going to put it back together again, probably off camera. And then maybe we'll do another video of actually exploring this machine and getting it set up. But that's it. I am really happy about this. It's just so cool that it works, and that it came with the SCSI controller, the GVP, the 040, and the M-Plant card. So cool. A massive box of like spares and bits and joysticks and keyboards, and obviously I still got two file boxes full of software. I've got the Amiga 1200 that needs recapping desperately. The 500 is good now, but I'm really tempted by the 286 daughter board for the GVP Impact Series 2 that is currently on eBay at an obscene price that I really shouldn't buy, but I really kind of want to buy because I always wanted one of those when I was a kid, and instead I sold my Amiga and bought a PC and regretted it. So anyway, that's it. It's up and running. Sorry the camera cut out halfway through me resocketing the thing last time, and I just kind of carried on and cobbled it all together off camera because I really wanted to turn it on, and I'm sorry it's taken me like a month plus to make this video. So there you have it. Until next time, I guess. Thanks for watching.